Thought we'd talk terms of service from the extremely messy man cave. There's baseball cards and some holders here as a bass amp. Below that's like some random notebook. Wow. But anyway, I was just fiddling because I'm trying to get, and you hear reverb now too. Kind of like it on there, but I'll take it off for now there, and then I'm going to put it back on, and I'm going to maybe do a little bit of singing. I'm not sure. But I'm playing around as I wait for maybe some people. I thought maybe we would look at the terms of service of YouTube starting December 10th. I thought maybe we'd take a look at that because I did, and there's folks that are scared they're going to lose their YouTube accounts. And here's a little preview. I can't guarantee you won't. Back to this. All right. I've got this loop system single pedal. I actually have a really great one that I bought to learn a couple years ago, and I never have. Hey, David, you've been listening to most of my music today. I'm really glad. Thank you. I'm going to play one of those songs. You know, the cool thing about having a loop pedal, and I'm playing right now with a singular loop pedal where it doesn't have, as far as I can tell, I don't really know how to use it, how many options. I think I can layer on top, but I don't know how to take off in the same singular pedal. Switch to something else. Otherwise, I could add like harmonies and stuff, and I might try that. Let me know what your favorite song is. I plan on doing a number of videos, potentially on every song that I've ever written, on where it came from in the Bible, or maybe if I was experiencing something particular. I think most of what I've written actually came from some part of Scripture, because I figure in songwriting, particularly songwriting for God, it's always best to rely on the words inside and then paraphrase them as best I can to stay true to the meaning, and then there's less risk. So there's this cool thing. I don't know how loud it is. We're going to be playing with my guitar pedal, and while I'm waiting for maybe more people in here to want to talk about terms of service, maybe YouTube, and maybe they won't, and maybe I don't know what's going to happen, because this might be a total embarrassment, in which case, so that certain individuals online will not use it to show what an incompetent boob I am, I may just delete it. I'm not sure. So let's try the effect pedal. I'm going to be doing Shema Yisrael. We'll see. Hi, Sabella. Let's see how it goes while we're waiting. We're going to talk terms of service. And here's the thing. This is a great drink. This is a great, it actually says Gibson on it too. I love this guitar because it says Les Paul as well, but it's a copy. And it's not quite the same. The thing is that it goes out of tune, and I've had it set by some very competent, guitar folks, and I'm really glad you liked "I Will Rejoice." "I Will Rejoice," if you don't know where that came from, is direct out of Habakkuk. I was reading the book of Habakkuk, and the thing I'm probably most proud of with that song, or maybe the best thing to say would be appreciative to God, is Sabella will testify to this because she knows some of the characters involved. I believe she goes back that far. But another brother, Mark and Mackie Moo, they were married. Mackie Moo had a disabled child, and they were the right-hand people. One was at the right and one was at the left hand of Mr. Yokup, who had a Christian ministry, he called it on here, that was really devoted to beating people down, particularly atheists. But if Christians were what he called too ushy-gushy, they were too loving, they would condemn him for, like, yeah, maybe don't tell atheists that that God's going to Lysol them like germs. Probably not going to go over well. And when I would say that, or someone else would say that, ooh, we were ushy-gushy, too lovey, not true to Scripture, afraid to talk about hell, and therefore we are fakes. That was fun. So back to the story. I wrote that song and recorded it finally in a studio. I'd recorded a year before at a different studio. That's a longer story. We could talk about that. I think there's a video on that on my Lift a Lot, or even on this, the Rob Reed channel earlier, when it talks about the start of a new life, the record. And another brother, Mark, and Mackie, who were together at the time, Mackie's child had died. And she was incredibly disabled. I think it might have been like a muscular dystrophy kind of thing or something. And I was really moved by it because I think I had a 2 or 3 year old at the time that it happened. I think AJ was 2 or 3. So it was like 10 years ago. And I just sent them this. I sent them a copy of I Will Rejoice. And I prayed for them to find the hope and the freedom and the thought that their child, Mackie's birth child, was in a much better place and wasn't suffering and dealing with all those things. And for the first time in the 2-3 years I had any conversation with them whatsoever, it was nice. And it was really, really cool. And they responded very kindly back at me. Sadly, they were divorced, I think, within a year after that. But they moved away from Yoke Up too, which was really a cool thing, I thought. And even Yoke Up has changed a new leaf, and he's not even around anymore. He's one of the smart ones. But that song was used to, because Habakkuk starts his book with, "How long, O Lord, must I call for help? Do you even listen?" And when people say, yeah, you can't doubt God at all, or you're not saved, or you're not a real Christian if you doubt God. Well, Habakkuk, not that he was a Christian, but I don't think Habakkuk would be in Scripture if God didn't understand those moments when things don't go according to our plan. Now, granted, that's not the way things work, but when it comes to your children, when it comes to having the children, raising your children, and your children not dying, I think that God understands when we go, what are you doing? And it's especially close to home now because within 15 miles was that high school last week, Highwall Denzian soldier, right? Last week, the shooting at the high school, and a 14-year-old was killed. My son is 13, and in just over a month. Talk about close to home. And God, no, I don't want that experience. Please, Lord, no. But if I were to get it, man, first words out of my mouth is, "How long, O Lord, must I call for help? Why are you doing this? I cry to you, please, can you help me? But do you hear? Destruction and violence is before me. There's strife and conflict. The law seems paralyzed and justice is perverted. Where are you?" Okay. Any one of those parents of those kids in Saugus High School, I could definitely understand. So I imagine you can too. So, oh man, I'm ruining that cool thing. Now, the bad part I may not have talked about I did, is that it goes out of tune. So it's got all this beauty. It's not, I think it was a 1967 copy Les Paul, really not a real one, because if it was a real one, it would have been like $2,500. And this one was, I think, 800 or something. And it just doesn't play that well. It's sad. It's probably out of tune already. I've already tuned it 3 times. You can hear that high E. And then that. Oh my gosh. It's not bad. All right. Hopefully it's not too loud. If it is, let me know. Watch the movie The Shack. I did see The Shack. The Shack, I never read the book. I went to see The Shack. From a biblical standpoint, it's pretty tough. That's not the one with Oprah as God or whatever, though. That was a different one, I think. But The Shack is not really, I mean, when I it's a sweet story, no doubt, but it's not particularly biblical if memory serves. So yeah, Ryan says New Age Jabberwock. Yeah, I don't know, it goes a little bit New Age, but there are some moments of it. I mean, it certainly favors the belief in God, which is a great start anyway. So, and a lot of Christians like the book, and it helps edify them. So even if some of the stuff is a little bit wrong. So, Levite Khan is live. Well, I don't mean to interfere. People can always watch this later. And especially because this is about to be a train wreck, I think. So if I was showing you how to play this song, then maybe it'll make it interesting. Shema Yisrael, it's D minor, and then it goes to it's a C9. This is a really common Chris Tomlin Christian chord, a C2. C is usually played sort of like this, without playing the low E. That's a C. So C, regular C is, but that C2 adds the 9, I guess. It's so pretty. And it's the same thing with the F, because then you move to the F, and then to the G. D minor, C2, F2, G. And that's it. The whole song is that. Yeah, see? It's not retaining its tune well. It's this D string, I think. Well, we'll see how it goes for fun. And again, I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see. Hopefully that's not too loud. Oh, and the worst part, it's going to record that. I've already messed up. Because what I said it was recording. Was the drum thing too loud? Let's see. We're going to figure this out. I think I got to do it right at the start. And then reset it. I messed up that second chord. Oh, and I'm talking over it. You'll hear me. Oh, no, you won't. Because... Okay, now it's messy. Sorry. But you won't hear me because I forgot the vocal's not connected to it. So are we having fun yet? Let's go back here. It's known in the Christian community to be blasphemous. Oh, the shack. Yeah, but I know a lot of people, it's like the Message Bible. A lot of people have a problem with the Message Bible. I think even Bruce does. And I like the Message Bible. Not that I don't own it. I haven't read it all the way through, I think, but everything I've seen seemed pretty cool. But anyway, we're going to try one more time. Yeah, what did Walt Disney insult? Christian scripture or not? It allows people of all religion to see how we work when we lose a loved one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. And for that purpose, I thought it was great. We blame God and the person who caused it to happen. For certain. All right. Don't forget that the vocal is not on there. Let's see if this works. Let's clear it. If that worked. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad. And then I get out of this. got a question. Do you know the King of the Jews, the promised Messiah, the Holy One who you must choose to gain eternal life and forgiveness from all of your sin? This King is named Jesus. He once died, but he rose again. Shema, Shema, Yisrael, Adonai, Elohim, Adonai, Echad. All right, not terrible for not really working that all too well. So that was fun. I'm going to learn how to use that pedal. But while I was here learning how to use that pedal, I was looking through my emails, deleting some stuff, and I saw the new upcoming terms of service. And I think, David, you were one of the guys who was worried that the part where we could potentially lose our channels. And the way that it's been phrased, like when I first heard it, you've heard me say already, like to Bruce, I said, there's no way it's, they're not going to do that. And I honestly believe that is still the case. They are not going to remove the majority of YouTube channels. What they've done is they've made it possible for them to. And this sort of maybe it relates a little bit to StreamYard, as a matter of fact, in reasoning at least, and what YouTube is thinking. If they have somebody who is recording a 10-hour hangout like every day and huge amount, and there's no commercial viability, which is the language that YouTube uses, and I'll show it in a sec, I guess. Let me see if I can share the screen. I think the only way that I can make this bigger on StreamYard is to actually like reduce size. Yeah. I don't know if that helps or if it's somewhat viewable online. I'll take Waldensian soldier. I have no idea. Walden, I guess. Who wrote Walden? Thoreau. So maybe that's what it's about. Yeah, again, back to the shack. I'm not, things are used, can be used to edify God. Jackass spoke, right, in scripture. So anything can be used. And I think that the shack has been used to edify a lot of people, to make people feel comfortable about the death of their loved one in some way. And if it's new agey, then fine. But I don't think that, I think that all things work for the glory of God, and that's what we're told. And so I'm good with that. But anyway, the key part that I had to sort of scour through, they say that they make it easier to read. It's easier to read, but it's not easier to understand necessarily. Where it is right here. This is what the folks are talking about. That's effective December 10th. And I thought, well, that's probably language that was already in their existing terms of service. And it turns out it's not. So that was a little disconcerting, because I wanted to be able to say to David, like I said before, yeah, nobody has anything to worry about. But I think like StreamYard, this is an update for StreamYard, I guess, for you folks as well, who may not know. If you use StreamYard, I watched a little bit of their live thing last night. They do one every Sunday night. And they said they're about to break out of beta. So they're going to become a full-fledged product. And one of the things they're going to do is they're going to limit the free service. The free service is already limited, but they're going to limit it from a time constraint. It shouldn't have any issue to somebody who's using it, say, to do a podcast and wants to do 2 hours a week, even 5 hours a week, potentially, right, of podcasting or live hangout. But it's they're looking at a 20-hour limit per week for the non-paid version. So that would be a reason to that'd be a reason to buy it if you give it a shot. You've got some interesting peeps here tonight. Yeah, I guess so. But Waldensian Soldier is somebody we know. I just don't know exactly who it is. I don't know. I don't think it'd be Bill, but stop fighting. It's enough. Gosh. Termination. So let's go back to the YouTube terms of service. Terminations by YouTube for service changes. And then what I'll do is I'll put the link in after I'm done just pointing this out at least. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all or part of the service. Now, what I expect will happen is this is really about people like StreamYard concerned with people abusing the free. They put a limit. Is that YouTube wants the ability to put limits on people who, in their view, abuse the free aspect of the system. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's theirs, right? Their response to anything you say is, how much does it cost for you to upload your content and do everything that you're doing, right? And the answer is nothing, right? And the answer is YouTube can do whatever they want. They're their private business. They're not the government. They can violate your free speech. Your free speech means nothing. And really, they're most concerned about any situation where they can potentially be sued and enter COPPA, the Children's Online Protection Act. The P, there's another P there. It means something else. I can't remember, but that's the newer part too of the terms of service, is that you have to notify YouTube if your video is for children. And even if it is for children, just say no. The only way that especially if you have a commercially viable YouTube page, let's say it gets a lot of views from people, if it's for children, they're going to limit it, because that Online Protection Act is really expansive. I didn't look at it in detail, but I looked at it enough, and it's any targeting of advertising or taking information, keeping information from children. I think YouTube got recently in trouble for it. I remember hearing somebody else get in trouble for it. And that's just the way that the advertising system works here, is that it's going to look at the habits of whoever's using it. It looks at the habits of where that person goes. It doesn't know the age of the person that's going anywhere. And so in the case of children, the federal government has now made it illegal to do that very action, which is just in the code, in the algorithms. It just happens without care whether you're 1 year old or whether you're 99-year-old. They target advertisements based on, if they see you go to Barbie, they see you go to music, they see you go to religion. And we all know that, because the ads that we see when we get on are usually directed towards us. And so it's illegal to do that towards a minor. And so you have to, as a provider, and the argument is that even you as a video maker could get in trouble for it. I think that would be unlikely. You get a warning, then you change it up, and then it's okay. It's always best to be 100% effective and make sure that, like I said, I don't make stuff for kids. People that are watching my stuff are probably not making stuff for kids. If you are, just know it's and you confess that you are for kids, know that it's going to hurt your bottom line for sure. If you're in this for making money commercially and off of commercials, wow, that won't happen. It'll probably be anything that it'll have to be that you get paid by a sponsor or something to put something in the video itself that isn't targeted. That's the thing. Or maybe Google will try and figure out a way to get around that, I'm sure. So anyway, back to getting away from COPPA, which is the other big thing. And YouTube may terminate your access or Google account's access to all or part. And again, bringing up Streamline, I think this is because they want to just have the ability to stop you from taking advantage of whatever free server. So now it's 4 times a day, or well, obviously that would have 12-hour hangouts 2 times a day. In other words, you got it going all day, right? If it's going all day, YouTube wants to be able to stop you, and they can say, look, you're not commercially viable. We're going to stop you from being able to live stream. That's going to happen. So this gives them the ability to stop live streams for people that abuse the system. So my recommendation is don't abuse the system, because like I was talking about with Bruce 2 nights ago, I think their bread and butter are the small guys like you and me, the small guys that bring people here, that occasionally have streaming advertisements associated. Like I have advertisements associated with my music just because I distribute my music through CD Baby, and they automatically upload the stuff for me on purpose. That's why you hire them, to put them on iTunes and all these other things so people can listen to them, but they also upload them here, and they also help you to collect royalties for the use of that music here. The way YouTube pays for it is with commercials, and that's why you'll see commercials on most of the music that you'll find here. But if you're a user of Spotify or Apple Music, you can listen to my music mostly commercial free. But again, back to this. So they can terminate your entire access. They're not going to do that for you to view. So you're not going to lose your accounts. In other words, that's not going to happen unless you continue to violate a policy or something in the same manner that it is now. But they can do in all or part, if YouTube believes in its sole discretion, and that's totally legal, that provision of the service, whatever service they're providing you, live streaming in particular, I think this relates to, is no longer commercially viable. Once again, when December 10th comes up, we're going to have our accounts. You're going to, December 11th here, you're going to have your accounts. Don't abuse it. That's all. Don't abuse it, or YouTube gives the possibility that they're going to mess it up for you. They're going to take it away. And that's what I saw. So I'm going to put into the chat if anybody thinks differently. Pop on in. But again, it is vague. It's vague on purpose, so they can do whatever they want to do. They're just not going to, they're not going to tick off, especially with these other companies that are going to come out to, beat YouTube. YouTube is a cash cow for these people. Obviously, if there's divvying out millions of dollars in royalties to 4-year-old kids who are advertising toys on here, and those people are going to be pretty hurt by this, actually, though. But if they're able to do that now, they're not hurting. They're not hurting at all. So let's go back to the chat. My goodness. Waldensian soldier. I know it's not the Shades man, because his English is good. Although this one makes you wonder. I think it's 2Ps and Gossiper, and the only person that says Gossiper a lot. Let's see. I can't imagine. I think ghost mods usually happens, Ryan, when somebody has been given the wrench before, and they I'll give you the wrench if you don't have it, but I think it's for people that, and I've only given people the wrench if I know them for sure, and that I trust them. So I don't, sorry, if that's Paul's real last name, then I'm sorry for putting it on. I don't know who Paul is. Is Paul another guy that's associated with in the mother country of England, or I should say the United Kingdom, because it might be Wales or Scotland. Rob has the same email. Yeah, I have the email, and it's vague, but there's no research to do. The language is like, when I see here terminations by YouTube for service changes, makes no sense. They're not terminating for service changes. I don't know what that means. They would be terminating you for abuse, I think is what that says. Or terminations by YouTube for not being commercially viable. Okay. And it's right here's the commercially viable language. So I'm not going to worry about that because you are commercially viable as long as you're using the system reasonably. I think it might also be a situation where, hi, Sister Sunshine. Let me put that up there. A situation where if you're making them a lot of money, they want you to abuse it in any way, shape, or form. Have 24 hours. If you can get them, thousands and thousands of dollars of commercial revenue, then they want you to stay on as long as you can. David just doxed Rob, and you're going to trust him with a wrench. So I don't know who you are, Waldensian. Are you that Paul character? Yeah, Sabella, I trust you now. You I don't want to get into why. Yeah, Sister Sunshine says she has a BitChute account just in case. She'll keep using YouTube until they terminate you. They're not going to terminate you. I promise you. Unless you're like, they might terminate Bruce. And I take that back. Bruce has had some 8-hour chats. I think Thickshade has had some. So don't do that anymore. If you have a chat, make it 2 hours. Try and limit the amount of hours of hangout out maybe to the 20 a month that StreamYard is going to limit you to. I don't know if you heard that, Sister Sunshine, earlier, but their free service, they're limiting to 20. I don't know what it's going to be. They might stagger it for the 2 levels of pay that they have, in which case right now I'd be okay because I got the max package they had. I think you have the middle one. So yeah, they just announced that last night. They're about to get out of beta within the next week. So they're probably going to do some big advertising rush. We'll probably see a lot of those adverts on that you and I helped to pay for, Sister Sunshine. This isn't exactly it. You could still be friends with him. And just see what it is that he's doing. Like the thing that got me with you, Sabella, before was like, I'm not going to get into it. You already know. You know the rest of the story. Bruce will just need to upgrade to a paid StreamYard account. How much is it? I ended up paying a pretty penny. I got, you know how they sucked me in was the idea of let me see StreamYard pricing of you could stream in multiple places at one time. Like when I did the video with my son, which was the last video that I did. Let's see their pricing. I broadcast to Facebook at the same time. And so that's great because I have a lot more subscribers on Facebook or friends on Facebook than I do subscribers on this channel. So it'll help to have my content seen, right? Here we go. So $20 a month for the basic. If you're paying yearly, if you're doing monthly, it's $25 a month, $49 a month for professional. And then basically this was $390 plus 48 is $438 for the professional if you pay in advance. And $360. No, sorry. $240. Not $360. Where did I get that? If it was forget that I even got that wrong. If it was $30 a month, I get. So $240. I don't know. Sister Sunshine probably does the $25 a month. So that's it. For me, for the plan, we'll see how it goes. I have this cool little thing. I told some people that I was doing a rideshare experiment. And no, it's $300 a year if you do it month to month. If you do it by year, it's the 240. But I doing this rideshare experiment where I'm going to see if I can do legal advice in the car to and from work. And I hope that I'll be able to get some people that want to commit to the camera and that my camera even works. Because I've already tried the experiment. I had a couple people that had legal advice they asked for, and the camera messed up. So pending that, but there's a really cool video that I got done. So it's going to be this animated cartoon thing that I'm going to do at the beginning of that channel. So that channel hopefully will involve this stuff a little bit, maybe live streaming. I'm not sure. So how much is it really? Again, back to it, it's $25 a month for the basic package. If you're not going to pay in advance for a year, it's $240 a year or $20 a month if you pay for the basic. And it was $438. No, it's more than that. 78 plus 390. It's $468 for the professional year if you pay in advance, and it's like near $600 if you pay month to month. So that's a big difference. And it may not be. I'll probably go to basic if I don't end up using it. Again, this is wishful thinking. So my hope is that I'll be able to use it. Yeah, well, Bruce might be able to tack on mine. We'll see. They still haven't advertised on here that they're, although this isn't StreamYard's website now that I look at it. So, yeah, Brett, this, I explained earlier, this is not a real Les Paul. I mean, it is, but it's the knock. It's really by Gibson. It's not like a knockoff that you got get in TJ or something, but it's actually it's a replica of a 67 or something like that. Sunburst. It's gorgeous. It's got it has great sustain. You know, as that Nigel, was it in Spinal Tap? It'll just go on forever with these P90 pickups. You could still sort of hear it. That's great. That's unlike any other guitars that I have. But it, as I was explaining, it goes out of tune. And it's probably already out of tune. To play with my my loop pedal. You signed up for Disney Plus. I know some people did that too, and a guy in my office did, and it looks really cool. Disney Plus, it's crazy all the stuff that they have on there. And if you're a Star Wars fan, I almost the gal, she just had her 40th birthday in my office, and I almost got it for her. Instead, we got her a spa treatment or something. Me and one of the other guys in the office, but we almost got her Disney Plus because she really loves Star Wars. And I forget what it's called. I'm not keen on my nerdy Star Wars lingo, but Disney Plus has a new weekly show. They have 2 episodes only. And yeah, there it is. The Mandalorian. I've heard nothing but good things. My brother, one of my brothers, who's also a huge Star Wars fan, has Disney Plus, and he's already watched it, and he's totally nerded out. So put some fret locks on it. Fret locks. It's whatever's happening in the neck right here. These things just they're not sticking or holding. It could be here too in the nut. But I had a guy set it up who really knew what they were doing in Los Angeles. They're one of the best. Eric's Guitars. They do a lot of big artist setups. And when I first got this and it was out of the box and it kept going out of tune and I was getting really frustrated, I took it there and thinking that they were going to solve the problems, and it really didn't. I haven't. This guitar hasn't been retuned. Gosh, it might be years. I'm ashamed to say, but I never use it. Hold on, I need to mute because I'm about to cough. Hopefully, I was muted. I don't know. Yeah, the new Star Wars series on Disney Plus is Mandalorian. They have a lot of the old movies. They have all the old movies. I think are probably going to continue to put them on. They have every Star Wars. They have every Marvel because now they own them. They have a ton of Fox stuff because now they own Fox too. So it was I thought, well, who's just going to want any content? But it turns out that Disney owns a mess load of stuff. Yeah, Bruce is going to need to find a way to stream, but he'll be able to stream, I'm sure. It's just we're going to have to limit it, and you'll be okay. Again, I think it's just a catch-all that their YouTube is just wanting to finally crack down on people who are abusing the process. And by abuse the process, it is, as I said, it's like just if you remember the old days with Nadia, where she would set up a hangout. She's the transsexual person who had a lot of trouble in her life, and she would basically fall asleep and let the thing run for 24 hours or something, and people would just talk and watch her sleep. Never understood that, but that would be a perfect example of YouTube and saying, we're going to prevent you from live streaming, Nadia. It doesn't happen anymore, I don't think. I don't think Nadia is on anymore. So that's about all I got right now. Unless somebody wanted to come in and chat, I'm going to put the link one last time in there. I guess you could watch me if you want. This is a Shure SM57. Yeah. Usually used for drums. This was easier for me because I couldn't find the clip for my condenser. I have a couple condenser mics. I have a blue microphone. This was just the setup so that my son and I could do a test for podcasting. And with this mixer that I've owned this mixer for like 3 years and never really used it. And it's cool for this purpose. I also have it, so I can add effects and stuff. And I also added it so that one of the suggestions I made for StreamYard is the ability to go, let's say, bring myself out of the stream and then go to an advertisement. But if I just leave it like that, I suggested to them that they have that screen like this, and at the same time allow audio. The only way they allow audio is if you have a share screen and then bring up, or I mean, audio if there's a video screen up like this. And so ways around it that I did before, you may have noticed, is that I use menu for the purpose of just putting in like a black picture to the left, and then some screen, to the right. Like, let's see if this is and I think that it would be so much cooler if I could have an adverse screen, like the GIF, as I call it, GIF. Some people say GIF, which makes no sense to me. And it'll work here. It didn't work in my office because my internet's so bad. But like the only way to get is to do this. Let's see, share screen. It's not playing. And I'm not sure why. Oh, that's why. Sorry. It's probably loud in your ears. I hope you're not using headphones. There's a thing there I'll have to figure out. Gosh. I don't know why that's so loud. So there's a thing on there, but once I figure that out, then can you still hear me, I hope? I feel like I just blew my ears out. Ooh, wrong thing. Get out of that. Okay. But that was the idea. Hopefully you can still hear me. No one's complaining about the craziness. I'm running it through a multi-mix 8 Alesis, ALESIS mixer, multi-mix 8. And I'm not sure if you can still hear me. Hope so. I think the gain's probably way too hot, but it has to be with the Shure 57. So, so it's to try and figure out how all this stuff works sound wise. It has to use a special driver, and the driver that was originally designed for this device, it exists out there, but it wouldn't install on Windows 10, even though it's supposed to. So, but it works. It works with something called USB audio codec. So that's what I use because it works. But I prefer it to be directly a driver that's associated with this mixer. And I hope to use the mixer for, let me see if I could. No, this one needs an adapter. But I have an iPod, and so I'll play direct music, and hopefully it would be even better quality than it's streaming from the webcam listening in on my speakers. So sorry for the blast of sound. Again, Sister Sunshine is eating, so she can't come in. I've been on for 46 minutes. Maybe I'll try and blast you out with Shema Yisrael. Sorry for the crackle. I think that's just a bad cord because I'm using a cheese ball patch cord that I think is about 30 years old that I got from Radio Shack that doesn't even exist anymore, I don't think. Let's see how it's doing in terms of keeping it tuned. It's not great. Let's see if I can. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad. This is my Robert Smith cure. I can add a bass line to this. I'm going to do the bass line. Sorry. You're going to get bored. I'm going to lose viewers here. Get the recording. It's definitely out of tune. I've got a question. Do you know the King of the Jews, the promised Messiah? the Holy One who you must choose to gain eternal life and forgiveness from all of your sin. This King is named Jesus. This will be fun. I'm going to do harmony. He once died, but he rose again. Shema Yisrael, Adonai, Elohim, Adonai, Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai. Didn't record. Darn it. Shema Yisrael, Adonai. Well, you know why it's not recording? I've already established this earlier. Because the vocal is not going through the loop pedal. Dummy. I'm going to do it as I work with this other loop pedal that I have. I'm going to do that, and it should be fun. But this is, let me see if I can bring this up here. This is the loop station, the RC3. Let me get out of the effect here. So the RC3, and this is the thing that is, when I press it, you'll see the green light come on here, I think. And then if I hit the thing again, it turns red, so it's recording anything the guitar does, then it just plays it, and then just stops. I think there's a way to delete stuff on the fly, but I have an entire pedal system that has like, I think 4 of these or 5 of these built in. It's really cool. So eventually I'll work with that and learn, but I'm glad that I at least got back into this because I've owned this one for a number of years too, and I've never used it. Yeah, thanks, Sister Sunshine. I will put up a link. Basically, to tell you about Shema Yisrael before I go, because I just was told that dinner is ready. That Shema Yisrael is a song that I wrote for my Jewish family. There's Bruce. Shema Yisrael is a evangelism tool, evangelism song for those who are Jewish. 3 verses. The first verse you heard. I've got a question. Do you know the King of the Jews, the promised Messiah, the Holy One who you must choose to gain eternal life? His name is Jesus. He once died and he rose again. So it's about Jesus first, the Messiah, the promised Messiah mentioned in the Bible. The second verse is a play on the use of the word echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, the Lord our God, Adonai echad, God one. Echad is one. Yachid is a plural one. So if you refer, this video, it was done by somebody named Dawn. People might remember her back in the day. Rahab the Jerichoite or something. And she was kind enough to do a video for this song that's linked. And to get back, I don't know why I brought her up, but to get back to the song, the second verse is, it's on Echad. And she, in this video, she does, you'll see a scene with Yachid, which is like a one. It's a group though, or it's a singular one. So let's say you can have, right here, a Yachid baseball card, a single baseball card versus, a set. I've got a set. I've got an echad. I've got one set. It's echad because it's built with multiple pieces. And the second verse talks about echad, that if God intended on having a singular one, he could have used yachid, but instead scripture talks about echad, a plural one, which refers to many in one or 3 persons in one. It's, the use of echad prophesies the notion and discovery of 3 in 1, the Trinity, which was really, really cool. So that's what the second part talks about. And then the third part talks about Daniel, the book of Daniel, chapter 9. that predicts the coming Messiah of like 770s or whatever it is, which turned out to be like 490 years or something like that. And there's a stretch. You could argue that they stretch it, but the real bottom line, that we look at is we look at what happened historically at the time of Jesus, and the reason that there was all this attention to him, to Bar Kokhba, and all these other people around the time. Apollos, I think, even was some character out there that people thought was the Messiah. Is it was at that time that the Jewish people were actively looking for their Messiah because they understood the predictions and the prophetic, the prophecy, the messianic prophecies in the Old Testament. They viewed that it meant then. And so from a Jewish perspective, with this song is either the Messiah came or we missed him, or it's all a bunch of, as somebody said earlier, I think Ryan said, what did you say about, I don't know what you said about the shack. Jabberwocky, or I don't remember what you said. It's all crap is the nicest way to say it, right? And so I choose not to believe it's crap. I choose to believe that it's truth, and I feel that was what God revealed to me. And so this song was my attempt to reveal that to first my Jewish family, and then secondly anyone who was Jewish who did not know, because I discovered when in reading the New Testament, particularly for the first time, man, it made the Old Testament come alive for me. It gave it meaning. And so that was pretty cool. And I think that you should take a look at that too. Hi, Rural Rider. How you doing? Hope you're okay. He's coming in soon. I think you mean Jesus you're talking about. And I would say, nah, I think it's going to be a long time from now, if not until near the end of like the sun deciding it wants to explode. I mean, I don't know the day or time, but yeah, here's another one. Says The Shack was crapola. I thought The Shack was a good film. Once again, from a biblical perspective, it was lacking in a lot of ways, but it was, I enjoyed it. I can't remember biblically that I didn't like about it, but things don't have to be biblical to enjoy them. I love Harry Potter. I love those stories. And I've had a lot of issues with Christians about liking that too. It's a fake Jesus, they say. Yeah, it's totally a fake Jesus, but it's a Jesus allegory nonetheless. So if I want to talk to my son about Jesus and what I believe to be real, but Harry Potter's a great tool to that. How can you love witchcraft? See, this is what I was waiting for. Somebody like that. Because it's an awesome story. So it's the stories are amazing in Harry Potter, Evangelist, Aspiring Arborist. The stories are great in the same way that Superman is great, in the same way that even biology works with seeds planted in the ground and rising and becoming things. It's like God has allowed shadows and echoes. Hold on, I'm about to cough. We're so attracted to stories like that, like Harry Potter, because, Sister Sunshine, I'm going to have to refer you here. This is a great conversation. We'll do it. If you look up Rob Reed, R-E-E-D, Aviad Cohen, A-V-I-A-D-C-O-H-E-N, and it's on Worship Wednesday. I did a podcast with him. That was probably 10 years ago. And we had, it wasn't really a debate. I tried to be as gracious as possible because he was like evangelist, aspiring arborist. Heroes are pagan gods. Yeah, but well, I don't know. St. Paul's a hero for me. Is he a pagan god? I don't think St. Paul's a pagan god, but he's a hero of mine for a number of great reasons. So anyway, to go back, we hunger for story because we're humans. God made us that way. And so story, that's why we just love different stories. If you hold yourself back on a story and prevent yourself from reading a story because it has magic wands in it and they have little spells that they cast in a fictional story, if that affects your faith, Romans 14, I'm not going to encourage you to participate. It shouldn't, but it doesn't affect mine. Not at all. In fact, it helps to build it up. And I love to talk about Harry Potter and the Christ figure that is Harry Potter himself. I mean, if obviously evangelist aspiring arborist, you may not have ever heard of the story. Um, Albus Dumbledore, who's a grand master wizard, who's sort of like a father figure for Harry, he says something like, um, great is he who is willing to die for his friends. Something like that, he says. And he says that because he knows that Harry Potter, in the end, spoiler alert, is going to die for his friends. And not only does he die for his friends, he rises again. It's pretty interesting. So it's a great allegory for Jesus in the same way that Superman is too. So if it affects your faith, then don't participate in it at all. Wonder Woman is Diana of the Ephesians. That may be true, but you know what? It was a great film. And if you didn't see Wonder Woman, you missed out on a great 2 hours. And I'm not just saying because of the costume that she was wearing or how beautiful the Israeli actress is who played her. It had great fight scenes. So, oh my goodness, Sister Sunshine, I'm starting to think I preferred you when you were Buddhist. Okay, I'm just kidding. Love you. And everyone here, even evangelist, aspiring arborist. Yeah, Ryan says, I praise God, his return is soon. To me, he's here, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's one thing, the way that I act is if two or more are gathered in his name, and there's at least two or more in here, then he's here. And he will cause me to fall down the stairs if in chastisement, if he doesn't like what I said about Harry Potter. Harry Potter, the sign. The lightning bolt is not the sign of the devil. The lightning bolt is the shorts that I wore in the 80s because my family couldn't afford OP. That's what the lightning bolt is. Sign of the devil. It's not a pentagram. It's like it's a lightning bolt. What are you talking about? Yeah. So evangelist, aspiring arborist. I don't know who you are, but welcome. I don't know how you found this channel. You're probably never coming back. Thank you. So that'll be the end of this broadcast. I'm sure I'll do some more. This was I think I spent a solid of the hour. I spent a good 10 minutes talking about terms of service. The short end of that stick is I don't think we have anything to worry about as long as you don't abuse the system. And StreamYard, by the way, free is going to 20 hours maximum a month. So plan accordingly as it relates to that. Limit your live to 5 hours a week of a 4-week month, and you should be okay. But if you get all your 20 out in 1 week, StreamYard's going to say, no more, sir, or you're going to have to create a new account there and hope they don't find out or something. So, evangelist, aspiring arborist. I normally do not go back to channels that block me. Did I block you? Unless this is somebody that I know who I blocked, you'll have to tell me. That will be epic. Make a vid. Make a vid about what? About Harry Potter? I don't know. Okay, good. Well, yeah, I have no intentions on blocking. See, the great thing about, I think about being a human is the ability to disagree with people and to still be able to walk away and maybe have certain opinions about those people. Maybe you walk away, evangelist, aspiring arborist, going, there's no way that guy's a Christian because he likes Harry Potter. If you're not 100% sure, let me add to that I voted. I have never voted for a Republican in a United States presidential election. So that one could solidify it for you. I'm a registered Democrat. That could definitely, but hopefully we can walk away, shake hands and say we disagree. And then you can say, well, one day I'll get Rob saved. Something like that. I don't know. God bless you. I'm going to go have some dinner. And if somebody sets up a hangout tonight, maybe I'll pop in because I'll probably be up here fiddling around with my delay or my loop pedal. Chat at you later. Bye.